Hello, good morning. How is everyone doing today? Oh, um, is there nothing? That was nothing. Okay, so let us attempt to log into Sims. Also, there is some Sims news. Um, and nothing much, but Sims 3 got an update after 10 years. Now, there's a lot of speculation about that. Um, But the most likely thing is that they're, sort of putting the game away because the update was basically just upgrading it for new software. And I don't think we're getting anything new for it. I think that it's most likely that it's gonna go away. Well, they're gonna stop support for it. It's the most likely scenario. I hope. I mean, The Sims 3 was the best Sims game, but yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. But also, I would have to like buy Sims 3 all over again, cause the time of cities and all that is long past. Also, I don't really know where my cities are. Well, I think I know, or you know. Anyway, not in my possession. That's the important thing. I would love to play through Sims 2 and Sims 3 again. Maybe even Sims 1. Maybe even. I do have Sims 1 uh, as a part of the archive, and I do have access to Sims 1. I'm unsure about Sims 2. A lot of people are hoping that they're gonna bring Sims 2, well, availability for purchase, but we don't know. We shall see. And also, my game is taking incredibly long to load. I don't know what's up with that. So that's why you're here, suffering through me randomly talking about. Well, I guess it's not random. Oh, but it's sleepy talk. This sleepy talk, I haven't been sleeping the best lately. Mm. And I'm cold and stuff. Mm. So, anyhow, hi, how are you all doing? Are you excited about the Sims behind the Sims today? It should start in. No, that seems wrong. In 6 hours. Yes, in 6 hours. And I just love, 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 love the art. I don't. Look at it. It's so pretty. We're gonna hide the chat. Look at it. It's so pretty. Um, mm, it's such a small thing. Personally, I would like them to do it more often. Maybe for every roadmap, but I know, like, behind the scenes isn't really, really live. And it's a big production to put up. So I guess But nevertheless, I would love to see it more. I made a mistake. I think I made a mistake today, and I'm gonna have half horse, half man stuck in my head. Why do I do this to myself? Also, why does Sims hate me? I am here showing you love, and you treat me like that. Just frozen here. That only tells us that I need to restart like immediately before we start anything. Because if it's doing that right now, oof. Yep, yep. Why are you in this loading? Confused math face. Because we didn't like enter a family or save or anything, right? Interesting. Oh, okay. Here. Yeah, I think we're gonna like restart immediately. Yee. Sneak peek at the 25th birthday celebration. Can you imagine? Sims is 25 years old. That's older than a lot of people that are not 25. I don't know. Well, it's Sims is not 25 yet. Sims is 25 in like a few weeks. Okay. Okay. On 4th of February. Oh shoot. Oh my god. I like posted that I'm live on Blue Sky, but I forgot to post links. No. No, had tags. I forgot to post tags. It's okay. It's okay. Some other times, yes. Cause I'm a half horse, half man. I'm a half horse. Gotta go. He's gonna be our like landing page for a while. Currently, it's funny because in my head he's supposed to be best friends with landgraab's estranged son. Johnny Zest. Come on, don't do this to me. It's not spinning, guys. It's not spinning. It's just okay. Okay. And then it does the ridiculously fast spin. Okay. And the choppy. Hey, we got good sounds. Oh, why are those my goals still? Okay, interesting. Oh, followers base plus program. Mm, dragon, of course. It's always the dragon. Okay. I'm gonna put the goal at 700. That's realistic, right? Ah, that was so loud. I don't know why I did that. Mm, keeping Seb alive, yeah, that's good. And I don't know why this is still loading. Where did I even set this? Oh, why? Okay, we're just gonna leave it. Morning, Frankie. Morning. I don't know what's up with my Sims today. They just don't want to load. They refuse. Mm, today is the day behind the Sims. I know that's what you're talking about, right? Right? Why is why are we stuck in the infinite loading loop? Mm, this is the definition of insanity. Just watching the plum blob spleen away. Okay, okay. Interesting. We loaded, guys, we loaded. Oh my god. What was that about? Who are you? Paka. I know you. Osamu. Why is Osamu here, though? And did I already place my family in this world? Oh, by the way, I did build. Well, we have one house that's sort of movable house, and I've been having a debate: should I like leave some empty lots or not? Like one empty lot per world. But I don't know. I don't think that's the point. Probably. Are we gonna get stuck in the infinite loading loop again? Stay tuned in to find out. Oh, okay, we won't. See, I had a plan what to build here, but I forgot what I want to build here, and I had a plan what to build here, but I also forgot. Let me just check if I go to Chestnut Ridge. I did move in my family here. Okay. Mm. Oh, but I didn't. Mm, yeah, okay. There's also supposed to be a family here, and I think I have a family for both of these. But yeah, this is my current family. Wait. Hello, excuse me, why are my daughters grown up? I don't remember that. wait, wait. There's no way. wait. My daughters shouldn't be all grown up. I'm pretty sure. How did that happen? I'm like, the thing is paused. And I'm pretty sure it's a long lifespan. Mm. Okay, we're here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure when I last left them, they were children. Please load. Yeah, yeah. See, they were still children. What? I was not emotionally ready for that. See, we have Bethany and Valentine. And I don't think they're twins, so, you know. Yeah, Theodore is still a toddler, so what? What? Confusion. It's okay, we will investigate that later on. Maybe they were supposed to like age up, so I don't know. Yeah, and I did move in the rest of the families. Okay, interesting. Because we have part of the family here, and then a part of the family should be here as well. This is like the only suburban house that I ever built. can actually show you. I don't know if I did good, because that's not my area of expertise. I think I did. I think I did okay. But it's definitely like a specific. It's not loading again. Man. I will give it to my PC. It's kind of cold today, so it's probably kind of cold. You know, just needs to warm up and whatever. We loaded. Oh my god. Mm. But yeah, this is the house. Okay, now that I'm looking at it, it's very fugly. Uh, oh wow. Like I remember liking this last bit here, but in general, like this is very ugly. What? But hey, the terrain paint is well here. Okay, the idea is we have our general space here. Like our bathroom, our like little kitchen storage. I don't know, it has everything that you would like expect in sort of a suburbanish house, I think. Oh well, there's even like food around. But yeah, Rex's sister lives here. Oh, we have a basement too. Okay. Oh, with the granny flat. Yeah. Okay, I remember. Granny flat here, and then up here. Yeah, stuff. I guess it was 2 bedrooms. Oh yeah, this is just a toilet. And then over here we have the bathroom separate. And that take like a lot furnishing it. Oh yeah, and then there's just like the cauldron here. That's supposed to be the attic. Okay, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Like a little hangout area, the PC. Severe lack in bookshelves, but I'm guessing like since I put one here, that's kinda. And this is so their grandchildren can come and play. And yeah, we have like a little outside garden, and then we have also like the inside garden. In this one. By the way, a fun trick. If you're ever If you plant your trees somewhere inside in build mode, if you have a whole thing, you can pull them in the center, and it's all still functional. I did that somewhere. I don't know where. But yeah. Okay, so the outside of the house is meh, but the inside is okay. I like this part. This part is fine. But I like inside. Inside is okay. The outside is meh. But I will do nothing to change it. And then, okay, I have their families scattered around. So it was in Chestnut Ridge, in Sun Sequoia, in Copperdale. We have Fiore family. Mm, and I think Daichi. Yeah, Daichi is Osamu's brother. And that's his partner. And their daughter and their twins. Well, daughter and son. Yeah. Oh, I remember when we built this. But yeah, it's populated now. I don't think we put people in on stream. But yeah. And then I don't think we did any work in Moonwood Mill yet. Yeah, we didn't. Tartosa. Okay, so we have a thing that's being worked on. And another thing that's being worked on, which is supposed to be a beach. And then another lot? Question mark. When did I build this? Okay. Wait. I'm just like trying to remember. Was this something I built on stream? I don't think so. I've been definitely playing a lot with Castle Estate Kit. Because somehow I find a lot of purpose for it in builds. Yeah. Okay, this is definitely something unfinished. Oh, I remember this is supposed to be like the apartments. Yeah. Okay. It's sort of like wanting to connect over here, but not really. But yeah, this is the apartments. And they're laid out like an old chateau. Like a repurposed chateau. Okay, so they're not finished. I completely forgot that I worked on this even. Okay, obviously this is like the second floor. Let's go from the first floor. So I think it's 4 or 5 apartments. Okay, there's 3 here. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. They're quite big too. I thought I was furnishing this, but I guess I only put like radiators and stuff. I suppose there was supposed to be a kitchen here, living room, and like 2 bedrooms with their own thing. This almost feels like it would be good for like two families to live in, or like roommates and stuff. Because these rooms are quite big. But I say didn't put the doors yet. Why? Oh, those are stairs. I'm like, why are there benches out there? No, they're not. They're stairs. Okay. Because I'm assuming things looked weird. Okay, then we have like small. Well, they're not that small. Because we have like this whole area with a bathroom and like a kitchen, I suppose, or a bedroom. I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be like a living room, but it could be a kitchen as well. And then this whole apartment. Oh, this one, yeah, okay. Has a bedroom here with a separate toilet. Or is that the bedroom? Oh, I don't know what that is. Okay, it also has the stairs up, and this one has the stairs up. So these are like mirrored on the side. But this is like quite interesting. Oh, and then here, okay, this is kind of lofted on these apartments. Okay. And then on this apartment is like this. Okay. So I suppose the living room and the kitchen are upstairs. Or this could also be like a bedroom, but it's open, so probably not. Okay, but we have 6 apartments here. Okay. So we do have something built over here. Oh, sorry, that's a lot of like jumping in and out, but I had to check what this build is because I genuinely forgot. Oh, the Mornay. I have like the whole lore with adding like Tomb Raider in. And the Mornay, I think it's her uncle, Atlas de Mornay. It will load. My PC is like putting in the work, you can hear it. Or it will not load. But yeah, he has his wife and his children, but his mistress lives over in Oasis Springs. And he pays for her apartment. It's Mallory. But also, his ex-mistress lives in Evergreen Harbor. Yeah. She even has like a little lore, Gina. She has triplets. Oh, yeah. Gina Broker. Okay, the Brunei. Because it's like combination of last names. It's kind of cute. But yeah, she has triplets here. We completely redecorated this too, I think. Yeah, there's lore and drama and stuff. But that's not what I was searching for. I was searching for. Okay, if you are here, we also have someone somewhere. Okay, Winterberg, I think. Yeah, Winterberg should have. Oh, she's not living here yet. Oh well. Yeah, I'm treating this as a one neighborhood, even though it's two. Mm, we have a lot of work cut over. Dang. Oh, and also, yeah, we have like a royal family as well. Yeah, a lot of things happening. But maybe I like rework them if we get like modern royalty and stuff. Maybe I give in a little bit of rework because we have like a lot of quote unquote royal families. We have Solani chieftain family, which is completely remade, new people. Um, yeah, they're totally loading. You can totally see everything. This is supposed to be Grimm's house, but then no. I started building something here, but also probably no. I do love a lot like how these look and these. I wish we could have apartments on the beach line, coastline. Although, okay. Honestly, I think we will be able to have apartments like that, and I will set them then when we get the hotels. It might be a little bit of controversial opinion, but I think the same as we can have penthouses now as apartments, we will be able to have this. Speaking of penthouses as apartments, there's this. It's generic right now. I put a lot of work into laying this out. So that has to be reworked. Everything has to be reworked here. Mm, it's loading. It's loading. It's okay, PC. I believe in you. You got this. Crashes. Oh, did it actually crash? Wait, wait, did it actually crash? The music has stopped. The plumb bob is not spinning anymore. Oh no. Oh no. Well, okay. The music is back. It's spinning. It did not actually crash. At this point, I will have to go make myself coffee. Hmm. The eternal loading screens. I honestly don't know why. But I'm guessing like my PC is getting kind of on the older side now. It's been 4.5 years or something like that. Also, I hope you don't mind Lara on the screen. Lara on the screen. I sure. Do we think it will actually? Oh, it actually did. Okay, okay. Oh no, I completely reworked this. Okay. So we have like an open launch here, and oh my god, the ceiling is fixed. Okay, I remember why I stopped working on this, because there was like this ceiling glitch, and it annoyed the hell out of me. But yeah, there are the changing rooms. It really doesn't like. I think I kind of make it work. But yeah, we have a bowling alley here. And this stuff. I think a restaurant goes here. Kinda. Oh yeah, and then up here we have the apartments. Man, those were so difficult to make. Okay, so we have these apartments. Which are... Which apartment do you belong to? I guess this one. Yeah, because... Okay, so we have these apartments, which are like one floor. And then these that span on 2 floors. Okay, I guess this is supposed to be the kitchen of it. Like that. And then that has a whole 2nd floor with like this fancy pool with rounded corners, you know, so fancy. Oh, I'm glad I marked which the bedroom is, where the bedrooms are. I'm assuming like this is the bedroom and this is supposed to be like a smaller bedroom. I assume. Maybe. Oh, then they have like attic space. Oh, that's kind of weirdly laid out. I don't know what my plan here was, but... I'm guessing like that. Yeah. It's interesting, like a blend of modern and kind of older. I like the roof. It definitely makes some sort of a face, but... Okay. We're not gonna pointlessly load into stuff anymore. We're gonna go out, then we're gonna go to our landgraab manor. We also have to consider the cap. Oh, and I completely reworked this part. Which is now like random small apartments in the middle of this like fancy square. Taylor, you don't have a description, so who are you? Diana with her son. Did you also have baby with Atlas? I don't know. I think maybe. Oh my god, I did so many builds. So many builds. Okay. Well, stretch is done. Let's return to landgrabs. Is it just a shell? Is this not furnished? Dang it. So much work. But I'm confident. We can get it done. Okay, now that we spent an hour on loading screens and stuff. Please don't crash now. Don't crash now. Okay, I believe in you. Don't punish my trust game. Mm. Mm. Okay, yeah, I say okay. Okay, load. No, now. I mean, okay. To be fair, this one is a big lot with a lot of little bits and pieces. So I get why it would maybe need to load longer. We're still gonna continue with the staff quarters. Okay, while it's loading, I'm gonna go make coffee. That seems. Oh, I guess it loaded. Should have threatened to walk away sooner. So we did finish our kitchen area though. I think maybe we can add like some plants still though. Maybe a singular plant over here. I think that could really elevate this space. Oh wow. Are you gonna behave like that the whole day? Is this too much? That's my question. I don't think it is. I think it fits nicely. Yeah. I think it fits really nicely here. Debating if we want to add like a fire poker here, but maybe we want to have it as clean as possible. These, by the way, are also technically windows. You can't see anything through them. But yeah, I think that area is now complete. So we should go back here. I think here we can just like add some artworks. And for the main part, leave it blank. We did finish these, and I think we kind of finished this part. Yeah, it looks finished enough. It's a good laundry room. Okay, I will still go make coffee, so I'll be your bee, but I'll leave this on screen. Okay, and we're gonna save just in case. I know we literally put just one thing, but you never know. Okay, you never know. I'll see you in a bit. Okay, we got fresh warm coffee and stuff. I'm okay with leaving this just as is. I know it looks kind of empty, but I think that works for whatever we have going on here. But yes, fresh coffee. It's a little bit hot though, so I might have to wait. Now let's first go for generic decor. Which would this work? Would this be too much? Maybe if I leave it white. But then again, this is like clean and oh, maybe this. Maybe not. Like it works in black, but since this is all white, perhaps not. Like it needs to be polished and clean. I would go for this, but it's too rounded. We need it sharp. Oh, actually this isn't too bad. Like it's also a night light. Maybe if we do it like this though. So it looks like it opens. I think I would like to put it like a little more here though. Let me just like so it touches this. And like that. Very bougie. No, these ones have like simpler beds. Oh wait, out of all of them, I think those are like the most simple. I'm not sure I want to leave these beds. But also, if I do, perhaps we want to put it like this. So there's like this corner for the desk. A little TV there, maybe like some sitting area. Kinda like that. Also, because we now also have these beds, which are quite fancy. Oh, I think I wanted this in the butler's room instead. It definitely makes it more. Oof, oof. These absolutely look more grand as well. Like, and bigger, kinda. Yeah, I think maybe we go with those over here. And this lot almost exactly to the wall. I'm unsure if I want to leave, like, the butler's bed here. Perhaps here. Hmm. Perhaps. Wait. Yeah, perhaps we can do that. So the door is kind of centered here. And this is supposed to be like an office area. Okay, yeah. I'm feeling much better about that. It's being extremely laggy. And this to sort of separate the room. And then here perhaps we can do an accent table and like a TV area. That's too fancy, right? We'll find something. We'll find something. This could be cute, but not in this room. Honestly, though, I might just go with the plain white thing like that. We're going for simplicity here, I think. part of me is thinking these, but they might be like a little much in here. Although it would be cool to have like that and that kind of. But no, those are reserved for land grabs. Perhaps. Maybe something like that. No. We'll take it under consideration. This is gonna be our pool boys area. So I'm definitely sure he would probably have this. This is pool boy, then this is the gardener. I'm thinking. Perhaps we just do these. Yeah, they look kind of fancier. And then we can sort of do it like so. Or we do this here and then do this like so. Because then it's definitely reachable. I can't really believe that we're using that much base game. But here we are. I'm thinking lots of plants in this one. And maybe like books on plants or something. I don't know. Ooh. I could have gone with like these. But no, maybe no, don't crash. Don't crash, please. Please. Please don't. Do not. It's frozen, guys. It's frozen. It's crashing. No. Please. Okay, sometimes it's magically unfreezes. Weird. We're hoping. We're hoping. Please unfreeze. Don't crash. Not today. Don't do this to me. Panic drinks coffee. Why did I deserve this? How did I deserve this? Please, don't. Oh, so sorry about that. I usually like mute when I cough. I didn't. Okay, it's unfroze. It's unfroze. Okay. Save. Yes, good, good. Okay. Part of me wants to put this specific lamp in this room, but we're on bookshelves now. Do you want to do these? Oh, but they're like too creamy compared to this. We could do them in like gray, but. These are like nice IKEA bookshelves. Although I don't think we would necessarily find it in this room. It's a little bougie. Oh, perhaps that. It's like nice and slim. We can put the desk here. And I think we can like populate it with some plants. Okay, for the desk, how do we feel about this? It's both angular and roundish. Maybe not. Oh, this kind of works. Okay, I'm gonna put the same desk in this room. That's gonna be like part of default decor. No. Oh, this can work. Like, it does bring a tiny bit of color. Then I think you would maybe want to have some drawers in here. Perhaps this. So it sort of fits the closet. Alright, part of me wants to put like this step stool somewhere in here. Because it just seems like something that would come in handy. Oh, it kind of matches with this table. So yeah, if they would have a step stool, it would probably be like here. Okay. Okay, time to personalize the things. No, wait. Maybe not yet. I'm thinking, did you have, they both have like a generic sitting area here? Maybe just like this square one. Oh, oops. Because I do want to have a specific thing here. Maybe we put this one here. No, we're gonna leave it like that. And you over here. And then we'll add some personalized touches. Although I'm more interested in decorating the gardener's room first. So don't forget that I want to add this specific thing. Maybe here. I think I definitely want to have it here. Which means we are moving this thing closer, maybe like that. Okay, wait, I need to refresh my dashboard because I had a tick stuck there for the active goal that's been added. There we go. Although this kind of feels empty now. Because like it works for this, but even like a little more to the front. So maybe I want to add something here, like that one singular bamboo plant, like this one. Yeah. Like here. Part of me still wants to put something here. Oh, wait, I think I actually have a perfect thing. Because there is this one tiny end table. This one. We're gonna personalize the heck out of this one. Do you want this or this? Sorry, give a sec. Okay. Maybe like this one. Kind of matches with the little bit of color on the chair. Definitely want to have this, probably. Probably that one. I'm trying to get the corner so I can see. Okay, it's not touching the top. And like this, it should. Yeah, okay. And then we can also add like these, perhaps. If we have like a green tone. We don't really. We have this pinkish. Oh, maybe these. And they can kind of match. Like a little bit with this. But that just feels a lot of... it doesn't work well with these things in the back. Okay, maybe they want to have a view of this. They're gardener. They like a lot of plants. How does one go and take care about these? We don't know. They're maybe they're plastic. It's interesting how like these are the only two places where things slot. Maybe not. Oh, this is kind of cute. With little bunnies. It makes more sense than most of the other things. And then I think we can slot a bunch of flowers in. Or attempt anyway. And we can do the shelving trick. Which one? You put it like that yesterday. I did not touch it, babe. Yeah, it shouldn't be that cold, but it's very cold outside, so I did turn on the heating for Tracer in there as well. Well, it's cold now, but yesterday it was fine. Okay. Brain. Ah, this one, perhaps. And so I was thinking specifically for like, I wanted to have a little border between the doors and the bed. And I was thinking for this one, we use this. Although this could be cute as well. Okay, maybe not. Maybe this is like too extra. But yeah. This I feel works great. Like so. Maybe we place it more here. Is there like... Oh yeah, there is another variant. These are both kinda white. Or we can do like this one. And then this. There are two different grays. There. That should be fine. No, that's BB. It's built by. This is built by mod. Cass is create a sim. It's not close there. My girlfriend is trying to understand the Sims terms. Do I want it? No, because like if it's closer to bed, it's kind of awkward. But this is kind of fine, right? Do we think that's kind of fine, or do we do it? What? It's probably not. I mean, it's probably also that, yeah. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna go with here. I just want to put like a bunch of plants everywhere here. And then we have those wall ones. Not that these ones specifically, or that although these ones could be cute somewhere as well. Oh, perhaps here. It is like too close here. I mean, if we put something else on the shelf, yes. So maybe we have them here. Ah, that's adorable. Baggies, I have them in my pocket. These are kinda cute. Yeah. Oh, her coat. Okay, I'll be right back. I need to put a coat on Tracer. Okay, hi, hello. I'm back. The doggo got a coat on. I got the am I a joke to you human face. It's adorable. But yeah, I was thinking that the gardener maybe would like to have these somewhere on the wall. Perhaps here. The little plants to propagate. And this makes sense though, no? Like that. I'm not sure they would have like carpet floors, but it is what it is. You know, that's the default that their place came with. Mm, and I'm thinking we put some hanging plants in here as well. Like this one for sure. Like that, and perhaps the longer one over here. Maybe it is like in a fun color. Like that. Oh wait, can I place that on here? Do you slot anywhere? No, I don't. I know, I will put you over here. But then there is a specific clutter item. Ah, this one. Which I believe is adorable, but it could benefit from being a tiny bit smaller, like that. There. So we're gonna put like a little gardening bench here. No, can I slot any more plants anywhere? Yes, I can. Not on this side, sadly. Oh, is that levitating? A little. A little. Maybe we could squeeze in like this somewhere. Perhaps. Maybe like there. You peed and pooped, Yoko? Oh, good job. Okay. The dog has been taken care of, kinda. Of course, we have to have this plant because it wouldn't really be a Sims build without this plant in it. I think that's fine. No, this doesn't want to slot. Or this one. Dang it. Yes. Can you also take this? Yuck. Also, this one doesn't want to slot, but I think it can work here. And it's not noticeable that it's not slotting. Yeah. You mean you don't slot? Gosh darn it. Mm. Oh, we can just put it here. Oh, they don't want to slot either? Serious? I think I want to make these slot here. So I'm just gonna put them here, and we're gonna do the shelf trick. And for the little sprouts too. Can this? Could this? Maybe not. Mm. I'll definitely put in this one. Maybe that one can be over here. It does seem a little far, but should be fine. And there's one more particular plant that we need to put in. This one. And also we're gonna make one slot here just so we can do this better, sort of. Because then we can put this one over here. And we can slot this one like that. Yeah. So I think I want this to be in color. I will totally remember to remove this. Okay, so I'm guessing here we can put these. Like so. And then over here we can put the orange one. We're gonna adjust this. And then this could go here. There we go. It's okay, we're not gonna clutter it anymore. I'm just gonna sort of rotate these like that. Okay, I think that's our shelf. Kinda done. I forgot like all of the details about our pool boy. So, Maybe I'll leave his room for like next time when I look up what his traits are and stuff. I think here we can put like these candles. Do they come in green? They come in like bluish something. Oh, maybe like that. Oh, that's adorable. I'm thinking I want to put in this specific chair. I do want it in that color. I definitely want it with lights. Like if this came with lights, that would be awesome. Oh, we don't actually have a lot of lights variants. Ooh, okay. Although this one kind of works with the whole vibe here as well. So maybe I go with that instead. Maybe like this little coffee table. Sorry about that. Yeah, that can be quite cute. And maybe we do put a fun rug under it. Oh, would this be... Yeah, that could work, but also no. I think we have like a bigger variant of that specific one, but I might be wrong. Yeah, I might be wrong. What if we shrink this one? Is that too dark? I feel like it might be a little dark. Perhaps that? I kind of want to do some like water damage, but maybe not. Like perhaps something like this a little. Yeah, that could work. It's just like a little hidden damage. Like when the shelf was moved or something.
Yeah, just a little bit of scrape there, just to make it feel more homey. And some paintings. It's like for some reason I feel like having these in here could work. I don't know. We'll see about that next time. For now, I'm in love with this room. Okay. And I know exactly what wall art I want to put here. Oh, although we could have this one too. That would be cute. We could put like that over here. And then add on something over there. And like a little mix and match of family photos over there. And with a little bit of pastel pop. It's kind of cute, right? Aha, found it. This one is an absolute must over here. I think even in that color. Yeah, yeah. Definitely like that. Lots of greenery and stuff. I don't think I'm mimicking much. Yeah, because this one has like a different scheme, color scheme. On the second thought, I probably don't want these. We're gonna figure out something else when we look into the personalities of the other person. We're like moving so slow with this build. I might even take some of the bits upstream today, perhaps, while I watch Behind the Sims. I'm so excited about it. This is more or less done. I do feel we could benefit from some clutter over here, and like just like one specific thing over here. So let's go to clutter. Oh, maybe we have like a box with some old stuff over here as well. That could be kind of cute. Mm, I do sense we're gonna have at least one more clutter kit this year. So maybe I could go back in. No, probably not. Probably like once we're done with this, I'm not touching it ever again. Hmm. I kind of want to have this, but I don't know where to place it or how. Maybe no. One hobby is enough for. She's living her hobby. Oh wait! I did want to put one more thing over here, and that's this. Honestly, this is like the best thing. Maybe I want to put it like under, like that. And then if we go back here, I just had it. Well, I was just looking at it. Ah, there it is. Like that. Kind of works. Pretty adorable, if I may add. Mm, no. This could easily fit onto here, right? Is it levitating? It's probably levitating. It's not. What? Are we? Yeah, it's not levitating. Okay. Okay. No, we already have axolotl in the other room. Maybe she has some puzzles too. Yeah. I think this looks like pretty Lipton. perhaps not that. Oh, or maybe I just added like at the end of the bed here. Yeah, that could work. Mm. Aha, this is what I was searching for. Although, honestly, kinda, like that. It's a little too on edge. Like so, perhaps. Oh, I had a thought. I had a thought, but it left my brain. Oh, give me a sec. um, pillows. Yes, yes. Throw pillows because this honestly kind of boring. Like one down. Okay, yeah, that's better. And like perhaps a yellow one over there. But maybe also like a smaller one there. There are a bunch of little colorful pillows. Kinda wanna put some there as well, but no. Oh, older. Wait. There is. Aha. Is it levitating? Kinda. A little. We can maybe just like cover this one with it. What if we put it like one lower? Yeah, it doesn't cover well. Like that would be the height, but so yeah, maybe we can just like do it like this and tilt it a little bit, so it actually looks like it's on top of this pillow. There. Granted, when she sleeps on it, it's probably gonna be like her face completely buried in it, but it doesn't matter. It's cute. I don't think we have time to actually make her, but I'm pretty proud of what we've done here so far. Well, not so far. This is done. I'm actually. I think I would call this done. Oh no, wait, I wouldn't. Because first of all, oh no, not you. Aha. Yeah. First of all, we remove that. I can't believe I almost forgot. Well, no, actually, I can. Here, maybe we can put like a little crafty nook over here. And do we want to put a light? Or perhaps just like so? Like so, and then we don't really touch it anymore. Yeah, I like this room. I think this room is my favorite of the whole house. Like, yeah, these rooms are cute. Okay, except this one. This one is like very simplistic. But yeah, like these rooms are quite good. I like how they turned out. But there's just so much we can do in here, you know. Also, she has an eating hobby, so yeah. I think her thing just being gardening could be super cute. Mm, maybe I make them off screen. Who knows? Also, I'm not sure if I'm ready to commit to the other bedrooms. Even though like this area is kind of done, like this main part. So we kind of only have these. Maybe I add a bit of personality into this bathroom. Also, one thing, this specific shelf, why doesn't it come in white? Like the colors chosen here are questionable at best. But maybe we can mix. Like maybe we can mix some wooden tones like that. I don't think that's the worst thing. So perhaps we want to put it like that. So like this lines up. So I can measure it. Or was it like that? So I can measure it on the other side. Yeah, they seem to be at the same height. Damn, this looks like so desolate. Holy heck. Like even when we put the towels here, which I'm guessing we can like easily put these ones. Huh, only the ones in color come on the silver ones, so perhaps the orange one. Hello, Dogo. How are you today? Personally, maybe it's not ideal to have towels in the bathroom that so many people share. But it's fine. It's the same. It's not like they really use them, right? Meow. How are you doing today, Nico? Hope your headache has passed. I know how migraines can be bitches and stick around for multiple days. As long as only sleepy, that's good. I'm not sure they're saving these bathrooms. Do I want to put a sink in the bathroom? That's just the bathroom. Perhaps, yes. Why not, actually? It would make sense to have toothbrushes and everything there. I'm partial to putting a stool over here, but maybe I can just put some drawers. And also, perhaps, actually, a towel shelf. Maybe we change these to blue. Yeah, perhaps a towel shelf there is not a bad idea. And then the sink, we can put it over here. It has to be a little fancy, but not too fancy. So, like so, perhaps? And then we can squeeze in a trash can over here as well. For floss and stuff. Hmm. I'm not sure. Like, it would make sense to have like little thingies. My grandma has one like that. Let me just see if I stick toothbrushes here. Oh, that actually works. Okay, okay. I guess we're gonna go with that one. In white. I'm thinking around soaps. I'm just gonna eyeball it here like that. And we can do the same thing over here. Oh no, no, not counters, not counters. Okay, since we have to go out anyways. Do we have that in just... Oh, we do. We actually do. How surprising to find the color that I actually need. Mm, and tables, yes. Perhaps we put just like this one. And the same in here. And then... Well, on this one I probably want to put some like that. And just like so on the side, and a variation over here. Which could be like the bath salts. Yeah. Perhaps this. I think we have like a lot of royal families at this point. Well, not royal, but rich families. We have landgrabs, we have goths, we have crumple bottoms, we have Winterbergs. Um, yes, Powers is fresh money. We're building quite the good lore over here, I think. So part of me says this is good, and I kind of like it. But then it's not like centered with this. No, it's fine. It's probably fine. There. Okay. The toilet portion. There is a reason I put them on the side like this. And that reason is so we can put maybe I should line them up better. They can still use them like that. It's just that we need room. Maybe I want to put them like that. More here. So they can we can put the toilet scrubby thingy. Yes. Sorry. I'm like trying to finish the sentence, but okay, that kind of slots perfectly, so we don't have to worry about that. And I think I want to do these over here. Is that too tall? Oh, that feels like really too tall. Okay, maybe on the lower end of that. That's kind of better. But maybe it's too far. Maybe we put it like that. Is that then too cluttered with this? Maybe we just put it on this end. But it like feels a little low now. Dang it. Okay. What if midway over here? At least I think that's midway. No, that also looks kind of too tall compared. I mean, I can't make it as drastic as the Sims Tim did with that one that's like all the way like up there. Okay. Let's try and eyeball the same thing over here. Like here, kinda. Yeah. Kinda. And then I'm not sure, I don't think I want to put the same ones. Ironically, like these base game ones feel good enough. Oops. Maybe we can like put this in silver. Yeah, this one. A lot of mirrors in this game feel too tall. Okay, and then the little towel. I'm thinking this one. And this perhaps is lighter. Yeah. Simple enough. maybe like something on the wall. Oh, maybe these like little leaves. It's pretty tall, but there. And maybe in this specific toilet we can put one roll over here. Just cuz. Okay, I think that that's fine. Toilets are fine. And bathrooms. Not a fan of just this being in wood color. But I don't think we can really match it. Unless, wait. We do like this stuff. Oh, okay, maybe. Yeah. I don't think, yeah, this does not come in that color. And this can stay like that, I guess. So I guess it's just a little bit of color. Ooh, no. Just changing the color. Nothing else. There. There, so it's not like the insanity. Wait. Well, the toilets are, but... Okay. We managed to do one bedroom and the toilets. I'm thinking we add artwork to these walls. Not to these holes. And do this part. Also, I think I know a perfect curtain to put here. I don't have much use of that curtain, sadly. Because it's a nice curtain, but it's these parts up there, you know. But here it could be nice. Maybe I can put it on both ends. Yeah, that can work here. I'm tempted to do these bedrooms, but no. I'm restraining myself. Now, although these are like sort of goldish accents, right? So that could work here. No, we're gonna leave it as grayish and whites. Okay, no, we're not touching those bedrooms today. Paintings. We said paintings on the walls. I'm not getting distracted. I'm on task. Maybe I actually do the combination. Because these are like a set. So technically, it's like that. And I feel like these are all like same caliber, just different colors. So maybe not here. But maybe we can pull off that over here somewhere. Somewhere. Perhaps here. So we can like... Yeah, maybe that works here. Then again, I kind of want to put it like tiny bit higher. Oops. There. Yeah. Yeah, that could kind of work. That still leaves these empty though. Maybe this one. And then like this one on the other end. Yeah, that's not too bad. At least we have like something on these walls. Do I want to put it a little higher? Maybe. Yeah, maybe that's better. Because it kind of aligns better with these ones. Okay, so I have to go to the toilet before we tackle this last part. Do we have another like silver frame? Like darker silver frame? Oh, we do. Kinda. Yeah, that kinda works. Okay, anyway, toilet time. I'll be right back. I return once more. Hello. Okay, where was we? This area, which is supposed to be like sort of a hangout area, but also kind of a bar. How do we do this? Because I had an idea and now I'm like, no, I can't really execute that. Yeah, no, no. You stay here. Maybe we could put like the bar over here. Or like maybe over here more. Let's see. Let's see what can be done. Also, I love this bar. Oh, okay. This could be interesting. Although it kind of looks more like a bar for the outside. I don't believe I ever used this one either. This one is nice, but I don't like how it cuts into the wall. It's definitely not meant to be close to a wall. This one is also pretty extensive. And it does kind of mix with stuff, but it does go into the wall. Which again, not a fan of. And even if we like put it out like that. And you know, actually that can kind of work. Yeah, I think that can kind of work. And then like a little cozy hangout area here. Maybe a little away from the walls, like. Okay, let's see. But also, well, not now and not new, but we do have. Oh gosh, where are you? Oh, we do have these shelves with drinks, which we could kind of just put like so. Thinking that's a lot of drinks. I was aiming for going for these. It's still a lot of drinks, but I don't know. This feels a little nicer. But yeah, sort of a little bar party area. And then for bar stools, these are actually kind of nice here. They're backless. Personally, I don't like backless bar stools. Like even if they have like this tiny back is better. Oh, maybe we can do these actually. Especially if we pull off something like this. Give me a second. I'm pulling it off. Okay, that's interesting. We don't have a full weight. No. I was in the toilet, okay? I was in the toilet. Hi. I was on the BRB, the mandatory BRB. How you doing, Bertata? Except extremely tired because, yeah. Okay. Uh, okay. I do not want hemorrhoids. Yeah, but I always make sure. I feel like there is a seat from specifically Dream Home Decorator. I guess there isn't. Okay, I was thinking wrong. There is this. We can make one though. It's like build your own thing. Yeah, we can make one with this. Maybe that's not quite what I had in mind, but we do have these chairs here. So we can just put it like that. Yeah, that works. That works. And like a little seating area. Seating area, like little brain, please. Coffee table. A little coffee table. Oh my god. Was that so hard? I mean, apparently it was. No, not this one. Like this one is pretty, but not this one. This one, perhaps? Yeah, that has sort of bar vibes. And now I feel like we're missing something on this wall behind. And the reason I don't want to put the things behind is not to block the light. So that's why they're a little, you know. Okay, let me think how I want to do this. I definitely want to put something for audio over here. And perhaps the something for audio could be like either these. I do quite love this one. Like, it's probably my absolute favorite record player in the game. We can also put this one, so it's kinda between these lights. Oh, or this one. Yeah, that fits landgraab vibes a little more. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of it though. I'm contemplating. Maybe the smaller one, like this one. It is servants' quarters, staff quarters, whatever you wish to call it. So like having just this could be really nice. We could kind of squeeze one more of these here, but probably not. This is better. I believe, I'm convinced. I'm not sure this is my vibe. This could be my vibe. See this carpet? So cute. Okay, so like so. It's a carpet. It looks kind of fluffy. Still doesn't solve the issue of the wall behind. And for corners, obviously, we can fill them with plants. What? I just read my captions. What? Captions really do be testing me today. Bum, bum. Mm. Also, I have to find something to put into corners except plants. Because usually, like, it's either plants or stuff for pets. Maybe here in the corner we can put a Roomba. What do we think about that? If I find a Roomba, there we go. So stylish. Okay, maybe we do not put a Roomba here. No, maybe we actually do. Like that's the common area Roomba. Hmm. I'm kind of thinking of pulling a wall here and making this into sort of a supply closet. Oh, actually, I'll make that, and we'll make a supply closet within a supply closet. My game is so laggy, man. So laggy. That's yeah, that's kind of fine. Because if we go to love struck, and if we go show all, I have no idea where the supply closet would be usually. There. You have this, and this is a perfect Wuhu spot. It can have fancy wallpaper inside. It's Butler's supply closet. It makes sense. And I think I'm gonna go for the wide entry frame. Like so. And then we can have these curtains in there as well. So it sort of matches the outside. Granted, I can always do like... where is it? Is it up there? I'm not seeing what I'm searching for. It can't be more expensive than the curtains, can it? Oh, it can't, okay. But yeah, we can always like do this, so it kind of looks, stuff. Oh, this is the shortest it can be. Interesting. But yeah, we can always do that to sort of hide the spikies. But I'm not sure if that's something we want to do. Because we're going for simplicity here, and those are not simple, but they're really, really beautiful. And then I'm thinking, since this is a supply closet, it could have the super subtle saucer. And we'll just pretend that this one has its own light. I don't know how I got there from here. But yeah, this was always supposed to be this sort of area for the bar and hang out and like a little fiesta. I still don't know what to put here. Let's see, wall decorations. We could always like go full on fiesta and just put like these with the streamers where these ones. But I think that's a little much in this case. Hmm. The bowling trophies. I went bowling once in my life. It was great. I loved it. Maybe I go again someday. Does it make sense? It does not. Does it fill the wall? It does. We're leaving that. This could be interesting if we find the right colors. Right colors being gray. It's interesting, but not in here probably. It's okay. It's just like a little fiesta area. It's fine. This is fine. I'm okay with this. But also, I think we should end the stream here for the day. Because I have stuff to do and... well, we're already going like a little longer than we're supposed to. So let me just see if we have someone to go say hi to. Maybe we can go to Sammy Sammy struggles. It's co-working. Oh well, it's starting soon, so perfect, perfect. I'm annoyed by the knock thing. Like knock to let the people know that you are that you want to stream with them. I do not. I do not. I will co-work with Sammy. You can join me. Um, we will continue this on Thursday. I always mix up Tuesday and Thursday. But yes, we will continue this on Thursday. I say that like the staff area is coming along nicely. We still have 4 rooms kind of to finish with like this big bathroom, the supply closet. But other than that, the staff area is pretty much done. Oh, I just have to put like the gardening thing here. So yeah, but then we still have most of this enormous house to do, which, yay. I'm looking forward to the day it's done because it's massive. It's so out of my comfort zone. But yes, as always, guys, stay excellent. I'll catch you later with some Tomb Raider. And yeah, until then, bye.